Okay, Assalamu alaikum students. So let's get started with October-November 2025 IGCSE Physics Paper 4 Variant 2 1 hour 15 minutes paper. Let's start with it. So yeah, let's see this. Question 1 Part A. State the difference between a scalar quantity and a vector quantity. What's the difference between a scalar quantity and a vector quantity? A scalar quantity has magnitude only, whereas a vector quantity has magnitude and direction both. तो ये लिख लो. A scalar quantity, a scalar quantity has a magnitude only, has a magnitude only, whereas a vector quantity has a magnitude, has a magnitude and direction both. बेटा वेक्टर क्वांटिटी में आपके पास मैग्नीट्यूड और डायरेक्शन दोनों होता है, स्केलर में सिर्फ मैग्नीट्यूड होता है. परफेक्ट. इन द लिस्ट बिलो अंडरलाइन each of the quantities that is a scalar quantity. Mass is a scalar quantity, energy is a scalar quantity, and temperature is a scalar quantity. Let's further move ahead. A tennis player throws a tennis ball into the air. The mass of the tennis ball is this. Okay, so this is the mass of the tennis ball. Perfect. The tennis ball leaves the tennis player's hand and reaches a maximum height of 5 meters above the point of release. Show that the initial velocity of the tennis ball is this, upwards. What will you do? Suppose that you have a tennis ball initially at ground level. Initially, the velocity of the tennis ball is u. You are throwing the ball at a maximum height. बेटा सपोज करो आपके पास एक टेनिस बॉल है इनिशियली एट अ वेलोसिटी ऑफ यू. This tennis ball reaches a maximum height. At the maximum height, your velocity becomes zero. And maximum height pe, what is the height of the ball? The height of the ball at the maximum height is 5 meters. Now, I want you to pay attention closely. बेटा ये जो बॉल रिलीज कर रहे हो आप ग्राउंड से, द पॉइंट ऑफ रिलीज ऑफ द बॉल, द ग्राउंड इज योर स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट. दिस 5 मीटर अबव इज योर एंडिंग पॉइंट. तो आप कह सकते हो एनर्जी एट स्टार्ट इज इक्वल्स टू एनर्जी एट एंड. Can you see at the starting point your height is zero, gravitational potential energy will be zero? At the starting point you only have kinetic energy. स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट पे आपके पास सिर्फ और सिर्फ काइनेटिक एनर्जी है, दैट इज इक्वल टू 1/2 मास, दैट इज 5.8 10 raised to the power of -2 multiplied by the velocity at the starting का square. At the end point your velocity is zero, that's why at the end point your kinetic energy will be zero. However, at the ending point you are at a certain amount of height, that's why ending point पे आपके पास gravitational potential energy होगी. Mass 5.8 10 raised to the power of -2 into g, that is 9.8 into the height, that is 5. Can you calculate this value of u? Yes. Let's do that. Let's take it to the other side. This gets cancelled out. This gets cancelled out. U square is equals to 9.8 into 5 into 2. Taken under root. 9.8 into 5 into 2. What does your answer of velocity comes out to be? बेटा आपका velocity का आंसर क्या आ जाता है? Let's calculate that. The answer of velocity comes out to be 9.9 meters per second. Simple. Calculate the momentum of the tennis ball. Now you have to calculate the momentum of the tennis ball. Momentum is equals to mass into velocity. बेटा मास क्या है टेनिस बॉल का? टेनिस बॉल का मास इज 5.8 10 raised to the power of -2. What is the velocity of the tennis ball? 9.9. Can you calculate this answer? हाँ जी. Can you calculate this answer? This answer comes out to be 0.57 Newton second. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, nothing complicated here. आगे बढ़ते हैं बेटा. Let's further move ahead. आगे बढ़ें. चलो. Let's see this. A truck moves with a constant acceleration. भाई constant acceleration को highlight कर दो. The speed of the truck increases from 13 to 22. अच्छा आपकी इनिशियल स्पीड क्या थी 13, फाइनल स्पीड क्या है 22. The time taken for the increase in speed is this. The mass of the truck is this. Perfect. You have to calculate the resultant force. Do you remember the formula of resultant force? Resultant force is equal to mass into acceleration. Can you calculate the acceleration? Yes, final minus initial divided by time. What is your final velocity? 22. What is your initial velocity? 13. What is your time? 4.5. What does your acceleration comes out to be beta? Acceleration क्या आ गई? The acceleration comes out to be 2 meters per second square. Can you calculate the resultant force? Mass that is 3700 multiplied by 2. The resultant force comes out to be 7400 Newton. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, nothing complicated here. The engine of the truck provides the forward force on the truck. State two forces acting on the truck in the opposite direction to the forward force. बेटा फॉरवर्ड फोर्स के ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन में कौन कौन सी फोर्सेस एक्ट कर सकती हैं? एयर रेजिस्टेंस एंड फ्रिक्शन. सिंपल. The two forces opposite to the forward force are air resistance and friction. आगे बढ़ते हैं. Figure 2.1 shows a car as it travels along around a circular racing track. भाई ये कार ट्रैवल कर रही है around a circular racing track. The car travels at constant speed. On figure 2.1, draw an arrow to show the direction of force acting on the car. Always remember whenever an object is moving in a circular track, direction of resultant force is towards the center. जब भी आपकी कार सर्कुलर ट्रैक में या कोई भी ऑब्जेक्ट सर्कुलर ट्रैक में मूव कर रहा होता है द डायरेक्शन ऑफ फोर्स इज टुवर्ड्स द सेंटर. अ डिफरेंट कार ट्रैवल्स अलोंग द सेम ट्रैक्स एंड स्लाइड्स ऑफ द ट्रैक. ओहो बेटा स्लाइडिंग ऑफ कब अकर करती है? व्हेन डज अ कार स्लाइड्स ऑफ? When the centripetal force becomes larger. State two possible reasons that can cause the car to slide off the track. Always remember centripetal force is directly proportional to mass. मतलब अगर आपका मास इंक्रीज कर गया तो सेंट्रीपिटल फोर्स इंक्रीज कर जाएगी. द ऑब्जेक्ट विल स्लाइड ऑफ. Also, always remember centripetal force is directly proportional to velocity square. If your velocity of the car increases, the centripetal force will increase, the car will slide off. Thirdly, centripetal force is inversely proportional to the radius. If your radius of the track decreases, the centripetal force will increase. However, we cannot take the third option. Why? Because car ka radius वही रह रहा है. So what are the two possible reasons? Either the mass can increase or the velocity increases. So you can say the car is of a larger mass. Or what could be the second reason? The car is traveling at a greater speed. At a greater speed. Simple, nothing complicated. Let's further move ahead. अच्छा अब क्या लिखा हुआ है? फिगर 3.1 shows black solar panels installed on the roof of a house and shows a large rechargeable battery. अच्छा एक large rechargeable battery है, ये solar panels लगे हुए हैं. ओके. The solar panels produce electricity and give a maximum power output of this. Okay. So this is your power output. The efficiency of the solar panel is 16%. Efficiency of the solar panel is 16%. State and explain one advantage of using black solar panels. Black solar panels are what? Good absorbers of heat. Hence, more electricity will be generated. So you can write black solar panels. Yeah, black color is a good absorber of heat. Hence, more electricity is generated. More electricity is generated. Simple. Calculate the power received by the solar panels from the sun. You have to calculate what? Power output. How will you do that? Oh, sorry, you have to calculate power input. My bad, my bad. Power received by the solar panels from the sun. You have to calculate power input. How will you do that? Efficiency is equals to power output divided by power input multiplied by 100. So, what's your efficiency? 16. Okay. Do you have the power output? Yeah, 3.5. 10 is the power of 3 kilowatts. Power input here multiplied by 100. Can you calculate the power input? Yes or no? The power input comes out to be 22 kilowatts. Yeah, 22 10 is the power of 3 watts. This can also be written as 22 kilowatts. आगे बढ़ते हैं. The solar panels produce direct current and household appliances use alternating current. State the difference between alternating current and direct current. What's the difference between alternating current and direct current? Alternating current reverses its direction. However, direct current only flows in one direction. So लिख लो. You can say alternating current reverses its direction multiple times per second. Multiple times in 1 second. However, direct current flows in one direction only. Perfect. State one advantage of storing energy in large rechargeable batteries. भाई अगर आप energy को large rechargeable battery में store करते हो तो क्या होगा? Electricity can be used when there is no sunlight. Electricity can be used when there is no sun. Perfect. Calculate the charge that flows into the battery when there is a current of 4 ampere for 2 hours. Charge निकालना. Charge का formula क्या होता है? Current into time. What is current? 4. What is time? 2 ampere, 2 hours. 2 into 60 minutes in each hour. 60 seconds in each minute. What does your charge comes out to be? Any genius in the chart? Charge comes out to be 29,000 coulombs. Correct to two significant figures. Always remember in IGCSE physics, you write your answer till two significant figures. Always. Okay. Now, let's further move ahead. Yeah, let's see this. Let's see this. Now, focus करो बेटा इस सवाल पे क्या लिखा हुआ है जरा सा. Figure 4.1 shows gas trapped in a cylinder by a piston. Okay. The volume of the gas is this. Okay, so this is your initial volume. Yeah, you can say this is V1. The piston is pushed to the left. Okay, so volume is decreasing. You are pushing it towards the left. Perfect. The pressure increases from this to this. This is P1, this is P2. The temperature of the gas is constant. Whenever temperature is constant, which law do we apply? Boyle's law. Boyle's law क्या कहता है? P1 V1 is equals to P2 V2. Calculate the volume of the gas when it is at the new position. P1 V1 is equals to P2 V2. What is pressure P1? 1 into 10 is the power of 5. What is V1? 240. What is pressure P2? 1.410 is the power of 5. What is volume V2? We have to calculate that. Cancel, cancel. Can you calculate V2? Yes, 240 divided by 1.4 is equals to your value of V2. Can you calculate your answer? This comes out to be what? This comes out to be 170 cm cube is your volume. Simple, nothing complicated here. इससे आसान और क्या हो सकता है? The area of the piston is this. Okay, this is the area of the piston. Calculate the force exerted on the piston by the gas when the piston is held in its new position. You have to calculate the force. Pressure is equals to force divided by area. You have to calculate force. Pressure into area is equals to your force. What is the pressure at the new position? बेटा new position पे pressure क्या था? 1.410 is the power of 5. 1.410 is the power of 5. What is the area? 1.910 is the power of minus 3. Can you calculate the force? Force निकाल सकते हो बेटा? Yes. Can anyone calculate the force? Yes, geniuses. The force comes out to be 266 Newton. Round it off till two significant figures. 270 Newton comes out to be your answer. Let's further move ahead. The distance moved by the piston is this. The average force exerted by the piston is this. You have to calculate work done. Work done is equals to force into distance. Force क्या है भाई? 220. Distance क्या है? 0.036. Can you calculate the work done? Yes. This comes out to be 7.9 joules. Correct to two significant figures. आगे बढ़ते हैं. Explain in terms of particles why gas can be compressed but liquids cannot be. भाई gas क्यों compress कर सकते हैं, liquids नहीं कर सकते? Because the distance between the gas particles is much larger compared to the distance between the liquid particles. You can say the distance between gas particles is much larger compared to the distance between particles of liquid. Simple. आगे बढ़ते हैं. There is a puddle of water on a road. The water in the puddle evaporates. Describe how evaporation from the puddle occurs. Use ideas about particles in your answer. अच्छा यार evaporation किस तरह occur करती है? What will you say? Molecules with greater kinetic energy escape from the surface, causing the average kinetic energy of molecules to decrease. Simple. Let's further move ahead. State and explain one change in the weather condition that causes a faster rate of evaporation. भाई एक change क्या होगी weather condition में that causes a faster rate of evaporation? Higher temperature या higher surrounding temperature. So you can write higher temperature of surrounding. What will be the explanation here? You will say a higher temperature enables more molecules with a greater kinetic energy, hence larger rate of evaporation. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. आगे बढ़ते हैं. A car travels on a dry road. The driver presses the brake. The car travels a distance before it comes to rest. The distance is called the braking distance. State and explain how the braking distance changes when the road is wet. When the road is wet, what will happen? The friction between the tires and the road is less. अगर फ्रिक्शन लेस होगा तो क्या होगा? ब्रेकिंग डिस्टेंस को क्या हो जाएगा? ब्रेकिंग डिस्टेंस इंक्रीजेस. सो यू कैन से if the road is wet, the friction between tires and road is less, causing the braking distance to increase. Simple. Nothing complicated here. आगे बढ़ते हैं. अच्छा. Figure 6.1 shows successive crest of a water wave approaching a boundary. Okay, ये successive crest है of a water wave approaching a boundary. Perfect. The speed of the water wave in region B is lower than the speed of the water waves in region A. अच्छा जी, रीजन ए में आपकी स्पीड हाई है, यहाँ पे आपकी स्पीड लो है. परफेक्ट. ऑन 6.1 ड्रॉ द क्रेस्ट ऑफ द वेव इन रीजन बी. अच्छा जी, रीजन बी में हमने क्रेस्ट ऑफ द वेव बनाने. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल तो ड्रॉ द नॉर्मल्स लाइक दिस. नॉर्मल, नॉर्मल, नॉर्मल. नाउ इफ यू हम्बली रियलाइज, बेटा ये क्या हो रहा है? If your speed is decreasing, the speed is changing. This is the process of refraction. और ये refraction of कौन सी waves है? Water waves. बेटा ये refraction of कौन सी waves हैं? Water waves. और बेटा क्या आपको कोई remote idea है कि ये कौन सा scenario है? Do you have any remote idea कि ये कौन सा scenario है? This is the scenario of water waves moving from which to which region? From a deep to a shallow region. Sir, how do you know that? Always remember, in a shallow region, the speed of the water waves is low. In a deep region, the speed of the water waves is high. Now comes the next part. हमें पता है velocity is directly proportional to wavelength. As you are going from deep to shallow region, आपकी स्पीड क्या कर रही है? लो हो रही है. वेवलेंथ भी डिक्रीज कर जाएगी. बेटा जैसे ही आप डीप से शैलो जा रहे हो, यू मस्ट रिमेंबर कि आपकी वेलोसिटी डिक्रीज हो रही है, हाई से लो जा रही है, वेवलेंथ भी डिक्रीज हो जाएगी. एंड एज यू मूव फ्रॉम डीप टू शैलो, डू यू रिमेंबर वेव फ्रंट्स क्या करती थी? बेंड टूवर्ड्स द नॉर्मल. बेटा जैसे ही आप डीप से शैलो रीजन में जा रहे हो, व्हाट विल हैपन? योर वेव फ्रंट्स विल बेंड टूवर्ड्स द नॉर्मल. लाइक दिस. लेट मी ड्रॉ इट. हाँ, मैं सही तरह से इसको ड्रॉ कर दूँ. Like this. ठीक है। हाँ जी, इस तरह से आपने इनको ड्रॉ कर देना। वेव फ्रंट्स बेंड towards the normal. Simple. And you can humbly realize the wavelength is decreasing between the wavefronts. Simple. State the wave effect occurs as the wave crosses the boundary between region A and region B. We have already studied this is the process of refraction. And if you are a bit over smart, you can say the water waves are traveling from deep region to shallow region. Water waves are traveling from deep region to shallow region. Perfect. Light can be totally internally reflected when striking the boundary between two regions. State two conditions that are necessary for total internal reflection. What are the two conditions necessary for total internal reflection? Speed of light must be less in the first region compared to the speed of light in the second region. यहाँ पे लिख लो. The speed of light must be less in the first region compared to the speed of light in second region. Also, you need to remember one more thing. Angle of incidence must be greater than critical angle. Say two advantages of using optical fiber for transmitting high speed broadband. It is faster and it is secure. ठीक है, ऑप्टिकल फाइबर केबल्स क्या होती है? फास्टर होती है एंड सिक्योर होती हैं। यहाँ पे आप ये भी लिख सकते हो, फास्टर की जगह यू कैन राइट इट ट्रांसफर्स हाई अमाउंट्स ऑफ डेटा या हाई रेट ऑफ डेटा ट्रांसमिशन. Perfect. Let's further move ahead. Dudung, dudung, dudung. Oh, this is a tiring. A circuit consists of an AC supply and two lamps. The lamps are connected in parallel. Draw the circuit. First of all, how does an AC supply looks like? Like this. How will you make the lamps? In parallel, like this. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I am really tired. I'm recording this at like 1 a.m. night time just due to the request of some students. So let's do it. Let's get done with this. The electromotive force of the AC supply is this. When connected to 230 volts, the resistance of one lamp is this, the resistance of the second lamp is. Beta voltage ये है, resistance of one lamp here, resistance of second lamp here. You have to calculate the current. How will you calculate? The current in the 800 ohm lamp. Voltage is equals to IR. Can you analyze both the lamps are connected in parallel? बेटा अगर दोनों लैंप्स पैरेलल में कनेक्टेड हैं तो दे विल बी हैविंग द सेम वोल्टेज. 230 का वोल्टेज, करंट, रेजिस्टेंस दैट इज 800. 230 डिवाइडेड बाय 800, व्हाट इज योर करंट? करंट की वैल्यू क्या आ जाएगी बेटा? व्हाट डज योर वैल्यू ऑफ करंट कम्स आउट टू बी? 0.29 एम्पियर. Simple. Calculate the energy used by the 800 ohm lamp in 5 hours. How will you calculate that? Very, very easy. First of all, do you remember energy is equals to what? Power into time. If you want to calculate the energy in kilowatt hours, it is necessary that you calculate the power in kilowatt, time in hours. Now, how to calculate power, sir? Power has three formulas. Current into voltage. Power is equals to I square R. Power is equals to V square over R. I would be using the first formula. Power is equals to what is the current? 0.29. What is the voltage? The voltage across each lamp in parallel remains same. 230 is your voltage. बेटा पावर क्या आ गई आपकी 0.29 into 230. This comes out to be 66.7 watts. Let's convert this into kilowatts. What will you do? Divide by 1000. What does your answer comes out to be? This comes out to be 0.0667 kilowatts. Can you calculate the energy in kilowatt hours? Yes, energy is equals to 0.0667 multiplied by the time in hours, that is 5. कर दो इसको 5 से multiply. Your answer for energy comes out to be what? 0.33 kilowatt hours. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. Let's further move ahead. You have to calculate the combined resistance of the two lamps in parallel. 1 over the total resistance is equals to 1 over 800 plus. What is the resistance of the other resistor? 1200. Okay. 1 over 1200. Take an LCM. LCM le lo beta. I hope I don't have to tell you how to take an LCM. 1 over RT is equals to 1 over 480. Cross multiply. Total resistance comes out to be 480 ohms. Simple. Let's further move ahead. State what is meant by a magnetic field. A region in space around a magnet where another magnet experiences a force. Simple. Let's further move ahead. Figure 8.1 shows an ammeter connected to a coil wound on a thin plastic cylinder. Okay. A small trolley is placed on the curved track which passes through the cylinder. Okay, so this is the trolley that passes through the cylinder. The trolley is carrying a magnet. Okay. The trolley is released from the position shown in figure 8.1. It travels through the coil from right to left. अच्छा जी आप ऐसे travel कर रहे हो right to left. Okay. And then the trolley travel back from left to right. अच्छा जी फिर trolley क्या कर रही है left to right travel कर रही है like this. Okay. Uh, it has a lower maximum speed when it travels from left to right. अच्छा जी मैं लिख देता हूँ this is your left to right. And when you are traveling from left to right, you have a lower speed. Okay. And this is your trolley traveling from right to left. Perfect. The plastic cylinder does not affect any magnetic field. Okay. Magnet is fixed to the trolley. Perfect. State why there is a lower maximum speed when the trolley travels back from left to right. हमने बताना है जब trolley left to right travel कर रही है, why is there a lower maximum speed? Any ideas, geniuses? What will you say? The induced current produces a magnetic field which opposes the magnetic field, causing the induced current. Hence, the speed reduces. Lenz's law पढ़ा था? Lenz's law के according ये आपने लिखना. You will say. Now I think this will get a little out of lines. You will say the induced current. According to Lenz's law भी लिख सकते हो. The induced current produces a magnetic field that opposes that opposes what opposes the magnetic field that opposes the magnetic field of what the induced current produces a magnetic field that opposes the magnetic field causing the induced करंट। बेटा इंड्यूस करंट को जो मैग्नेटिक फील्ड कॉज कर रही है उसी को अपोज करती हुई एक मैग्नेटिक फील्ड इंड्यूस करंट प्रोड्यूस करता है। लेट्स फर्दर मूव अहेड। Figure 8.2 shows a close-up view of the ammeter. Okay. As the trolley enters the coil from right to left, the ammeter needle deflects to the left. ठीक है, ammeter की needle deflect करिए to the left and then returns to zero. State and explain any changes to the deflection on the ammeter as the trolley enters the coil from left to right. अच्छा जी, जब आप left से right जा रहे होगे तो what will be the deflection on the ammeter? So the deflection on the ammeter will still remain towards the left. यहाँ पे लिख लो the deflection, the deflection, the deflection on the ammeter will still be towards the left. Sir, why is that the case? Because you have the same cutting effect. The deflection on the ammeter will still be towards the left. However, the magnitude of deflection, you can say there will be a smaller deflection. However, the amount of deflection will be smaller. The amount of deflection will be smaller as the rate of change of magnetic field. Rate of change of magnetic field is smaller as the rate of change of magnetic field is smaller due to lower speed. Simple. Let's further move it. Since the magnet is moving at a slower speed, the rate of change of magnetic cutting effect will be less. Okay, let's see this figure. 9.1 shows the beam of radiation in a vacuum. Okay, the beam contains alpha, beta, and gamma radiations. Perfect. The beam enters a region where there is a strong magnetic field. The direction of the magnetic field is into the page. Okay, magnetic field की direction into the page. On figure 9.1, draw and label the paths within the magnetic field of alpha particle. Label that with alpha. You have to apply Fleming's left hand rule. I'm about to open the camera. Please focus on the board. Let me open the camera and explain it to you guys. अच्छा जी, how will you apply Fleming's left hand rule here? थोड़ा सा focus करेंगे. Please, I need your undivided attention. Okay. Now, according to Fleming's left hand rule, can you see this left hand? My left hand? I hope all of you can see. Let me show. Yeah. According to Fleming's left hand rule, this first finger points in the direction of the magnetic field. Magnetic field is pointing inward. The first finger points inward. The second finger points in the direction of current. Alpha particles are positive particles. Always remember the direction of current is the same as what? Direction of positive charges. बेटा जिस डायरेक्शन में पॉजिटिव चार्जेस फ्लो करेंगे वही आपकी डायरेक्शन होगी अल्फा पार्टिकल्स की. मैग्नेटिक फील्ड इनटू द पेज, positively charged particles towards the right, so the current will be towards the right. The force is towards the top. Thumb is pointing towards the top. This is your path of alpha particles. What about beta particles? Beta particles are negatively charged. Write another key point. Direction of current is opposite. Direction of current is opposite to direction of negative charges. Take out your left hand again. Magnetic field into the page. Can you realize beta particles are moving towards the right? But your current will point towards the left. Why is that the case? Beta current left side पे क्यों point करेगा? Because always remember the direction of current is opposite to the direction of the beta particles. Can you realize where the thumb is pointing? Thumb is pointing downwards. This is your beta particle deflection. Also, you have to make sure that the deflection of beta particle is more compared to alpha particles. Why? Because beta particles are lighter. अच्छा गामा रेडिएशंस के साथ क्या होगा? They will pass undeflected like this. चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. Table 9.1 shows 5 radioactive sources. The main type of radiation emitted by each source and the half-life of each source is given. Okay. Define the half-life of the radioactive source. What do we mean by half-life of a radioactive source? The amount of time taken for the number of nuclei to half. अब क्या कहोगे? The time taken for the number of nuclei to half या the number of nuclei to या the time taken for half the nuclei to decay. यहाँ पे लिख लो time taken for half the nuclei for half the nuclei of a sample to decay. Simple. आगे बढ़ते हैं बेटा. क्या लिखा हुआ है? Figure 9.2 shows a simplified diagram of a machine that produces thin sheets of aluminum of constant thickness. अच्छा जी आपने thin sheets of aluminum produce करनी है of constant thickness. Okay. The radiation detector okay is used ठीक है to measure the thickness of the aluminum sheet and control the gap between the rollers. Okay. Radiation detector used हो रहा है to measure the thickness of aluminum sheet. Okay. State the most suitable radioactive source in table 9.1 for the machine in 9.2. Okay. Explain why the radioactive source is more suitable and why other sources are unsuitable. Can you realize a source emitting beta particle will be the most suitable here? Why? Because बेटा अगर मैं एक alpha emitting source लूंगा तो क्या होगा? They all will be stopped. बेटा अगर मैं एक alpha emitting source लूंगा तो सारे के सारे alpha particles stop हो जाएंगे. Gamma emitting source लूंगा तो all will pass. Beta particles is the only source that will give you that बीटा पार्टिकल सिर्फ ऐसी वाहिद सोर्स है जिसका काउंट रेट वेरी करेगा डिपेंडिंग ऑन द थिकनेस. अल्फा पार्टिकल सारी की सारी स्टॉप हो जाएगी. गामा रेस सारी की सारी पास हो जाएगी. द ओनली रेडिएशन whose count rate depends on thickness is beta. Okay. So let's see the options that we have here. Okay. Either R या फिर S. P cancel out, Q cancel out, T cancel out. Now from R and S, R is a better option because it has a larger half-life. A larger half-life means कि आपको वापस वापस इसको replace नहीं करना पड़ेगा. So which is the most suitable source? R. Why is that the case? What will you write first of all? What will you write? You will say alpha particles will be completely stopped by the sheet. However, gamma rays. Instead of writing however, you can say and gamma radiations, gamma rays will completely pass through the sheet, pass through the sheet. Only beta particles, only the count rate of beta particles, only the count rate of beta particles will vary based on thickness of sheets. Lastly, what will you say? Since R has a longer half life, no frequent replacements will be needed. Since R has a longer life half life, यहाँ पे आप लिख दो, since R has a longer half life, no frequent replacements will be needed. Will be needed. Will be needed. चलो let's फिर then move ahead. आगे बढ़ते हैं. बहुत हो गई मस्ती. Fill in the gaps in the description of how an accretion model explains the formation of the solar system. The planet near the sun are small and rocky. The planets further away from the sun are large and gaseous. Perfect. All the planets, okay, all the planets were formed when a cloud of gas and dust collapsed due to gravitational force. Gravitational force. Okay. The rotation of material in the cloud forms what? An accretion disk. Accretion disk. Perfect. The time taken for light to travel from moon to earth is this. This is your time. Calculate the distance of the moon from the earth. You have to calculate the distance. How will you do that? Distance is equal to speed into time. What is the speed of light? 3 into 10 is the power of 8. What is your time? 1.3. Can you calculate the distance? Distance निकाल सकते हो? 3.9, 10 raised to the power of 8 meters. Perfect. The Whirlpool galaxy is this light years from the earth. The current value of Hubble's constant is this. Okay. Calculate the speed at which the Whirlpool galaxy is moving away from Earth. Do we remember this formula? V is equals to H naught D. We have to calculate V. What is H naught? H naught is the Hubble's constant, 2.210 raised to the power of minus 18. What is the distance? Distance is 2.3, 10 raised to the power of 7 light years. Beta distance क्या है? 2.3, 10 raised to the power of 7 light years. Now you have to remember, आपको पता होना चाहिए, 1 light year is equals to what? 9.5, 10 is the power of what? 9.5, 10 is the power of 15 meters. 9.5, 10 is the power of 15 meters. What does your velocity comes out to be? बताओ भाई, velocity क्या आ गई आपकी? 4.8, 10 is the power of 5 meters per second is your velocity. I think that is it for this paper. If you have any questions, you can ask in the comments below.